time to start Winedown Wednesday with your hosts, Missy, Dawn, Angie, TJ, Nikki, and Lindsay. So grab your glass or your cup and join us for great conversations about, well, who knows? Let's just enjoy the evening. Here we go.
Yeah, I could see I was on mute. For some reason, it would not unmute. Y'all know it's not us if we don't have technical difficulties at the beginning of the show in some way, shape, or form. So welcome to Winedown Wednesday. Welcome back to those of you that normally join us, and welcome to anyone that may be joining us for the first time. I hope that you have a cup, glass, jar, bottle of something close by to help you wind down and relax on this wonderful Wednesday night. And hopefully all the little people are in the bed. Maybe, maybe not. So, but you're a mom. So if there's a knock on the door, we get it. So welcome again. Couple of reminders. Remember, there's no hate speech here. People are entitled to their differences of opinion. Just because we don't agree, don't mean we can't get along. So we're going to be respectful of everyone's opinion. My name is Melissa Davis. I go by Missy. I am a doula and the owner and operator of Hands of Melody Doula Services, along with my normal peoples in the room, my co-mommies and co-hosts. We have doula Dawn, we have Rachel, we have Angie, we have Lindsay, we have TJ, and we have Nick. I'm sure we probably will have a couple more mommies joining us when their little people are down, so we will see them in just a little bit. But also joining us tonight for the conversation, we have two guests that we want to welcome to Winedown. We have Miss Taylor Ashley. She is a Mary Kay consultant. She's going to talk to us a little bit about how to take care of that postpartum skin as a mommy of 3. She has been that road. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And we have Miss Charlay. Charlay is a member of the Home Village. And we say home a lot on here. So home stands for Hands of Melody. So we call ourselves a village. So we always say welcome home. So welcome home. Charlay is one of us. She is one of our mommies that we have been with since she was pregnant and had her little person, which we saw at some point running around in the background. So welcome. Charlay is going to talk to us about hair care in that postpartum period, because her locks, curls, whatever those things are tonight are giving me all kinds of hopes and dreams and wishes for what's happening up here tonight. So she's going to talk to us about some hair care. So tonight's topic of conversation is a continuation of a show that we did a couple of weeks ago, where we talked about the 4th trimester and the emotional toll that it takes on people after they give birth. The highs, the lows, the crying 1 minute, happy 1 minute. I'm glad I had a baby, but I was mad I was pregnant. I love my pregnancy, but labor didn't go the way it was supposed to. I gave birth by a stream and it was deers running, whatever your story is. That's the 4th trimester. 4th trimester talks about the 12 weeks immediately after your baby is born. So when baby is out and laying up here and all wonderful and you're crying in tears, 1, because they're here, 2, because you were tired of labor, all of that stuff, that starts your 4th trimester until that end of that 12 weeks. So we're going to talk about the physical changes that your body goes through from pregnancy through the 4th trimester. So for those of you that have given birth and you looking like, whoa, like these all of a sudden showed up, or my perfect size 6 waistline is not where it was before, all of that happens, but don't get discouraged because it can come back. I didn't say will, I said can, because everybody's body is different. For the person that had glowing skin, like you could have done a whole commercial and now you got acne and all of this other stuff, we're going to talk about that tonight. Some of us experience hair loss after we get pregnant. Some people get pregnant and their hair does this, oh my God, oh, like girl, the shine, the sheen, the lusciousness, and then it kind of falls apart afterwards. Completely normal. We're going to talk about that tonight. C-section mommies, all this wonderful body, and then I have a C-section scar. We're going to talk about that. For those that have vaginal births, is it going to go back? We're going to talk about that too, because I'm sure some of your partners have said they're going to be able to fix all of that. That's been a real question that men ask, like they've really asked, are they going to be able to put all that back together the way it was? So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And we're going to talk about not rushing yourself to get back to that. Give yourself some grace, give yourself some kindness, give yourself some love, all of that, because you're not going to walk out of the hospital wearing your street clothes that you were wearing before you got pregnant, because that's just not reasonable. So let's talk a little bit about that. So let's get into our conversation. And I'm just going to put it out there. We're all mommies. What was one of the things that you went into pregnancy and birth and thought, oh, once this baby come out, this is just going to happen? Did anybody have like a myth or something that they heard, or they thought they was going to snatch back or whatever? Yeah, think about it. I see your mind going, Rachel. What, Charlotte? What you got?
You want me to go first? Because I was devastated.
Go ahead.
So I was so excited to breastfeed because all my friends told me that when you breastfeed, you're going to lose all the weight. Like, girl, just breastfeed. You're going to lose your stomach. You're going to lose everything. And I was like, cool. That's all I got to do. That's easy. It wasn't my testimony or story. So to this day, hormone fluctuations have been out of control. And I had to give myself grace because I'm nourishing a whole human. I pushed out a whole human. And we're coming up on 2 years in August. So I'm just giving myself grace and patience because I just stopped breastfeeding. So
yay. Okay. Good.
We weaned, yay.
Yay. So for people that are usually people are on one side or the other when they're giving you advice. It's like, don't you do nothing but breastfeed. You don't need no bottles, you don't need this. Or I was all formula. Like, I'm just gonna have bottles. And there's usually not a lot of people to just say, do what your body tells you to do. Like, give yourself, like we say over here, grace. And everybody's story is not your story. So to the people that want to exclusively breastfeed, by all means, exclusively breastfeed. But I always say have a plan B. You might even have to have a plan C. So if you got one bottle stashed somewhere in the house, don't even take it out the plastic if you don't want to, but finding out that you need it, excuse me, at 3 o'clock in the morning during COVID, when the Walmarts aren't necessarily 24 hours, is not the time to find out that you need it. So I'd rather have it, even if you get that sample of formula or whatever, or take them little ones from the hospital that they're going to give you, and they're going to give them to you, and take them. Even if you don't need them, you can find somebody else that need them, take them, and just have it stored somewhere in the back of somewhere. And I know people don't want me to say, oh, their body just going to work. Okay, it is. Bless Jesus. But have it in the back. Dawn, what you got?
I was just going to say that I tell most people that are pregnant that breastfeeding is, for one, it's a commitment. It's a hard commitment. You have to be determined. And for the most part, I think I only know one person where it was just kind of like smooth sailing. And I think after a couple of weeks, she even had a couple issues. But there's always going to be something, whether it's cracked nipples, whether it's a duct that's clogged, whether somebody is telling you baby's not getting enough food and you need to give them some formula, or you're waking up every hour and a half and you're tired and you're like, maybe they're just not getting enough because I'm tired. It's always going to be something. So I would tell anybody pregnant, it's definitely a commitment, and it's definitely not easy and not like the movies. And I think everybody can attest to attest to that, including myself.
No, it is like a movie.
Yeah,
like a tragic comedy.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not pretty. It's not pretty. It's pretty later when they get to about 5-6 months. Then it becomes pretty and cute and nice and all of them things. But in the first couple months, it's a little rough. With my 2 kids, with my son, I didn't nurse. I was young. I tried for 2 weeks. He was choking every time he would try to latch. Milk was spraying. It was just too much for me. And I stopped. Little did I know, later I found out he was tongue-tied. If somebody would have came in and assisted me, I could have nursed him. But with my daughter, she came out and she latched instantly, but I still had the cracking because her latch wasn't right. But I still nursed her till she was 3. So it's not easy at all.
It's
I think
not.
it's from my experience, it's like the expectation versus reality, totally different from breastfeeding. Because I swear, like I've seen, to your point, Dawn, of like movies of, oh, you're pregnant and your boobs just start growing. I was like, oh, okay. I'm not a big chested person to begin with, but I was loving what I was seeing. Like, okay, this is gonna be, a whole thing. And my milk came in less than 24 hours after my C-section. That I was not ready for. And then to have like, okay, I'm still kind of drugged up and now you put a baby on me and he's not latching properly. So that became the biggest problem. So now my boobs are gigantic and he can't take them out. So for me, that was like the way I walked into this expecting one thing and now ended up, and I'm still amazed at the fact of our breasts can literally nourish a whole human being. Like I love that part of it, of just, okay, I'm pumping. Like it was exhausting as all get up. And I don't know how, Angie, you did it straight through for the whole year. I was supplementing formula at night for him, and I was pumping when he's supposed to be feeding on my boobs just to make sure I had stash or whatever. But then after a while, it was like, this is like a chore. Like, I don't want to do this anymore, and I just stopped and let it just completely, my supply just diminish. And then I just used my secret stash that I had, and that was it. But it's just expectation versus reality. It's like, whoa. And you're not prepared for, your kid now being the one to tell you, okay, I'm going to latch on properly or I'm not, or, all the little things that come up that throw your whole plan out the window. So,
and even the feedback that you get like at the hospital. So it was like you had people coming in and each person is telling you something different.
Yep.
Every time you come in. So you don't know, like, do you have an inverted nipple? Is this going on? You have all of these things going on in your head. And I felt like with Ava, when she was ready, she was ready. And it was like 3 weeks. I needed that nipple though. The what's the name? Nipple.
The shield, nipple shield.
The nipple shield is what really saved me. But I also felt like she did it when she was ready, because it just was like, she wasn't feeling it the first 2 weeks. I wasn't feeling it the first 2 weeks. And it was just a lot. And then the whole transition to when you go back to work, you're pumping for like 45 minutes and you have like a half a hour. Yep. You're like, this is not worth it. This is dumb and this is stupid and I'm wasting my time. So yeah, you get frustrated real fast. I was just like you, Rachel. Like I was like, yeah, this is dumb. She'll be all right. And she was all right.
And then nobody talks about the size of the areola, and that grows and it does not go back.
Yes.
I had these little teeny perfect areolas and nipples, and then they be like this.
Yep.
Oh,
Yes.
Jesus.
Yes. And when I have a quick question, I want to make sure I get to a question. Somebody sent me a separate message that said, what is inverted nipples? While we're talking about breastfeeding. So inverted nipples are when your nipple actually does not point out, like they don't sit up and are perky, they actually go in. So it looks more like a slit where your nipples are. And there can be like variations of it. It can be
like a belly
larger
button
version, and then it can just be a little bit. And some of those inverted nipples can, like if you breastfeed or pump, sometimes they'll come out if this is like your first baby, but sometimes you may need a nipple shield, or that's when you have like a lactation consultant to come in and work with you. The ones at the hospital, again, you only there for a couple of hours and they tag team like 5 and 6 different people that come in. But I would encourage you, if you have any kind of nipple issues or breast issues, make sure you get a lactation consultant. If you have a doula, they're usually attached to lactation consultants. If you know a midwife, but if not, find you one. La Leche League has some services for you, but definitely that breastfeeding
Your
journey.
pediatrician might have some lactation consultants as well. Mine had one. Pediatrician. Mine has one on staff.
Yeah. So definitely talk to somebody. And then if all else fails and you can't put your baby to breast, you can still pump. Pumping is as much of a commitment as putting baby to the breast because it's still a schedule. You still have to stay on top of it. Angie is one of our mommies in our home group, and she was an exclusive breast pumper. And so I'm going to let you talk a little bit about that, Angie, and why you know, what kind of transpired.
Excuse me. I'm getting over a little cold. So, but yes, I exclusively pumped for almost 14 months. What the reason I ended up doing it is, of course, everyone here knows my birth story, and I had a rough hospital stay and then transitioning back home and having latch issues. And it goes back to even what Dawn said, like when she was trying to nurse her son, like not knowing those things that could have helped you in that moment at that time. So you just kind of give up. But for me, breastfeeding was important for me for many reasons, because I ain't want to buy no formula. That was one reason. And for two, I just wanted to be able to say that I breastfed my baby. Like my baby had my milk. I did this. I made this. That was the one thing that I was really focused on doing. And I just thought it was just going to snap overnight. Everything was going to be rainbows and butterflies. Like we always use that term. And it wasn't for me, but because I wanted her to be breastfed, I did a little bit of research. And we were probably about 2 months in when I decided I was going to exclusively pump. And what that meant was every time she had a bottle, I was on the pump. Around the clock, waking up in the middle of the night on the pump. Like we had a refrigerator upstairs. I had my whole little get up to wash my pump parts and everything. Echoing every single one of y'all, pumping was an absolute pain. But that was the commitment that I made to myself and Rory in order to be able to give her breast milk. That's what I committed to doing. At one point, I was pumping literally like every 2 hours. Like that's how, I was in there like swimwear. Like when I went back to work, I was still at the point when I went back to work that I was at least pumping 3 times when I was at work. Like it was a whole thing. But yeah, that was my main reason, was because just like everybody, I thought that it was just gonna snap and she was gonna latch and we wasn't gonna have no problems. It was like the little engine that could. We went to her pediatrician for lactation consultants. In the office, latch like a champ, no problem. I mean, guzzling it down. We get home, I'm doing the football pose, I'm doing the cross pose, like, oh, nope, she don't want to do it. So at that point, you know, I just had to make a decision. You just have to make a choice of what is important to you. It was like, I'm not going to buy formula and diapers. So I'm not doing cloth diapers. So therefore, you're going to get this good breast milk. So I did what I had to do. And I just did it. I mean, there's no other way to say it.
Nick said setting those alarms to wake up and pump so you don't get engorged. And
I still have those alarms in my phone turned off. And sometimes I look at them and be like, oh my God, I really used to wake up at like 3 o'clock in the morning just to pump and go back to sleep. Because, you know,
I remember the first time I slept through my alarm. Yeah, and I leaked, and I'm like, so this is what that feels like. Yeah. Like I was so swollen, and milk is just coming out. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, you want to see a new mommy cry, lose a couple drops of milk after you work real hard to get it.
Yeah, I had like a what's love got to do with it, Tina Turner cry when I took the mason jar. Like it was the ugly cry with the snots and the tears and everything. I was reaching in the refrigerator to get something else, and my hand hit the mason jar and it hit the floor, and I was like, I just lost it. Gerard just scooped Rory up and walked in the other room because he was like, I'm gonna let her have her moment because I know there's you that term, when I started exclusively pumping, I fully understood the don't cry over spilled milk. Don't cry over spilled milk my behind, because they were talking about breast milk when I made that term.
Oh my God. So then what bras do you wear? What pumps do you buy? What, like, what bags do you store in?
Yeah.
God forbid, a couple of our mommies had like refrigerators that malfunctioned and they lost milk, or milk that was freezer burned because the bag wasn't always closed. So how do you like it's a commitment. Like
the
Dawn said,
that you can sleep with, those were the best.
Yes, yes.
The milk.
So those are called breast shells. So breast shells are one of the things that we hide. Okay, breast shell objective number 1. Make sure the hole is at the top, because there is a little hole for you to pour the milk into the bag. And so if you wear the shell with the hole facing down, you'll get somewhere and it'll leak, and then the whole bottom of your shirt will. So find the hole before you put the shell in your bra, so that you can make sure that you store all that good milk. Because we could do a whole show on breast pumping, milk, all that. So if you want more information, you can because Angie had a whole routine. She had app stuff, all that kind of stuff.
On that. Like I had a whole app set up. I was tracking how much milk I was producing,
all of that,
seeing where I was going low, seeing where I needed to. I missed the pump. Oh shoot, that means I got to pump at 9:22. Like I had it down to the minute. Like
yes. So if you want help with that, oh, Angie froze. If you want help with
frozen?
that, I know. If you want help with pumping, or getting schedules or apps or all of that stuff, you can email Angie at melodichands.com, and somebody can drop that in the comments for us. Angie at melodichands.com, and then she can give you tips on the apps or whatever, and then like the whole conversation. So, because I don't want to just stay on the breastfeeding portion, but I think one of the bigger things that I wanted to definitely make sure that we touch on is the skin care and the hair care. And Angie, I think there's a question from Facebook about the app. Okay, so I wanted to bring Charlie and Taylor into the conversation, and so I'm going to ask like each one of them to give us like a quick tip. And then we'll kind of go into a little bit. But Taylor, I wanted to ask you, what was different about your skin that made you look for something? Like, did you like try one thing? Somebody said, try this, and oh, it was this, or like, was it a process and then it started like after you were pregnant or after you had the baby? Like, what was the difference?
So my first pregnancy with my son in 2016, my skin was glowing. It was beautiful. It was amazing. I loved it. I was really young, so I was kind of nervous about the whole idea of your skin's going to change. And after I had him, I got scaly, I got dry, I got flaky. It was really bad. I started getting hair places I never got hair. So I was like, I am not at the age to start growing hair on my face, but it's happening. Why is this happening? So that still hasn't been resolved. So that's forever. No big deal. However, I was able to control the itchy, dry skin. I tried so many different moisturizers, and I didn't know what kind of skin I had. I didn't know if I was a normal to dry. I obviously knew I was very dry in certain places. But certain moisturizers I used, I would get really oily and it felt heavy and greasy on my skin. So it wasn't until I was in the middle of the pregnancy with my third son, actually, until I realized I'm not using the right moisturizer.
It took you 3 pregnancies.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it took me a very long time to get it controlled. First pregnancy, I had amazing skin. After it turned horrible, dry. Second pregnancy, I was so oily, I couldn't deal. It was a mess. And then the third pregnancy, I finally realized like what kind of moisturizer I need to be using. And that's probably one of the biggest things I would say is moisturizer helps you with everything.
So that's for people that don't wear makeup and do wear makeup, just making sure.
Either one. Either
Okay.
one. I think the biggest thing that you can do for yourself pre-pregnancy, during pregnancy, and post-pregnancy is get yourself a good skincare regimen. You know, one that you know works for you, and it might take a couple tries of different brands, different types for your skin. But that's the very first thing I would say is get yourself on a good skincare regimen. If you don't want this huge regimen, just go with a basic face wash and a moisturizer, and that's going to get you so much farther.
That's my whole life right there. I don't have time to do nothing else. We talked about that the other day. And so Taylor does do Mary Kay, and you'll see kind of her stuff at the end. But as we go along, if you have skincare questions, I want you to put them in the comments, because she's gonna kind of monitor the comments and drop it in, and then also her contact information so that people can follow up and get some in detail, because that's a whole, are you dry hair? Are you dry, like that's again a whole conversation about that as well. But another big thing was hair loss. We heard this so much that once you have the baby, like we had mommy saying, oh my God, I'm standing in the shower and it's just like hair shedding so much. Oh my God, is my hair gonna come back? A lot of African American moms, I don't know why, but ours seems to be edges, like around our edges. So it's not that we don't lose it other places, but it's around the edge line. And Charlotte was one of those moms that I remember when your hair started shedding. And so yes, I do, because you text me and all
I forgot about it.
Oh my God, is this normal? So
I remember having clumps. Yeah.
I want you to, one, tell us either pre-pregnancy or while you were pregnant, is that when you saw the change? And then, or was it immediately after having her and then you had to find a regimen? And I asked that because when we're pregnant, we still have to be careful of the products that we use. Mm-hmm. So I think if we know the context of what she's saying, because I don't want anybody saying, oh, well, she said I could put this. No. So it makes a difference. So if you can give us a quick, like, kind of like Taylor did, and then we're going to direct people back to you as well. But kind of what did that look like for you?
Well, yeah, for me, when I was pregnant, I was so happy because first of all, I did a lot of protective styling, but either way, it was the hormones. That surge in estrogen had my hair flourishing. Like it was growing so fast. It was thick and shiny. I mean, just luxurious. I was just happy because my goal anyway was I was growing out my hair. So I was so happy. I had no issues with my hair pregnancy. No, some people get like scalp issues or like some people lose hair during pregnancy. So it just depends on the person, but I was grateful and flourishing. But when I had her, which normally happens, which is a hormone shift, a major hormone shift. Estrogen is one of the major hair growing hormones for reference. And so when we have the baby, plummeting estrogen and progesterone, boom, they drop. So then it's a shock to our body. So I noticed it mostly in my temples, and I had the little thinning in the temples, and I never really had that since I've been doing, staying on top of my routine and knowing what I'm doing. I am a licensed cosmetologist, so have been for 15 years. And I lost hair before, but this was just like a little different, thankfully not as severe. But I also started noticing some clumps in the shower when I would wash my hair. Overall, my density is still not what it used to be. Surprisingly, I know it's a shock. I have a lot. It's a lot in here, but it was more than this, y'all. So I not to be insensitive to anyone's experience, and I know people struggle with, you know, what hair they have and sometimes wanting more, but I personally was okay losing a little bit. I know it sounds crazy, but I just had so much that it was hard to do.
Yeah.
For me. So I didn't mind losing what I lost. Thank God I didn't lose a lot more. But sometimes when I do blow it out, it feels a little shocking because it's not as much hair as I used to have. And that's the honest truth. It's drier. It's the texture changed. And it was very brittle. When I gave birth, it was more brittle. And it was I had a hard time getting the hydration back in my hair. So I cut it a lot. I had some breakage because of that. It started breaking. It was really brittle. So I think up till last year, around my daughter's first birthday, right before, I cut my hair into like a bob. It grew all back, but it was very damaged. And so that's another thing that sometimes we don't think about is with the shift in our hormones in our bodies. And every 7 years, the body's changing anyway, and your hair changes with it. Sometimes your curls change. It's just a lot as we age and go through hormone shifts all the time. And I just weaned her, so my scalp is crazy now.
Is it a myth about the prenatal? Because like I lost my edges, but like with length, my hair has like never been this long, and so I continued to take the prenatals because my assumption was that it was the prenatals. But is that a myth, or is that there's some truth to it with us taking the prenatal vitamins?
Prenatals are really helpful to keep the nutrients and the vitamins in your body that you need as your body is going through that major shift. But it doesn't affect necessarily the hormones that are naturally just going to drop. Like there's nothing that we really can do but give it 3 to 6 months for your body to regulate hormonally. In your breastfeeding, that's another conversation we can have offline because it does affect you differently. But taking that prenatal is going to help you keep more hair, if that answers your question, because those vitamins, you can be more deficient once you give birth if you're not taking the right vitamins, prenatal or postnatal, if you're not eating enough, depending on your recovery, your body just had trauma. So it's going to sometimes take your hair out of the growth cycle naturally. And that's another part of stress. Cortisol takes our hair out of the growth cycle when we're stressed. That's why we see temple loss. That's why we see breakage in our crown and in the back of our hair. We start losing it when we're stressed. And naturally, we're going through a big transition, which can be traumatic for some, but either way, it's a big shift and transition in our life. Our sleep is lost. Our bodies are recovering. We're having hormone changes all at the same time. Plus, you know, sometimes we just don't have time to do our major routines, our weekly shampoos or whatever we're doing to maintain our hair regular. We can't get to the salon. COVID, like, you know, all these things are happening. So it was so much on us on top of the natural transitions and life shifts that come with pregnancy and birth and postpartum. So that alone.
So Charlie, what's the name of your company, Charlie?
From the Root Beauty and Wellness. Yes.
So Charlie owns From the Root, and that information will be at the end of the chat as well. But if you want to contact Charlie, because again, skin is unique to you, hair is unique to you. It's like your fingerprints are unique to you. So I can give you my, line of products or my recommendation or whatever, but all of that stuff needs to be tweaked to you. So that's why we have these ladies on here tonight. So as I did with Taylor, I'm going to recommend that Charlie put her information on the Facebook comments right now so that people can get in contact with you to find out and get more information, because everything and Tamila and I think Rachel and Taylor may have been on here when we were kind of getting ready for the thing tonight. And I was like, okay, so does pregnancy do outside of the baby? Because before anybody's like, I'm not talking about the baby, outside of the baby, does pregnancy benefit our bodies in any way? And so one of the things that that Tamila was saying was that it can reduce certain kinds of cancers. People that have given birth have a lower risk of certain kinds of cancers. And so, I'm grateful for that. That's always a plus. but I wish we didn't have to like search in the dark for the good things that pregnancy, like, oh, there's one. Like pregnancy does a lot of things to your body. Weight is a thing for so many. There are some people that start off as a size 6, have their baby, they go back for their 6-week checkup, and they back in a size 6. Well, bless the Lord. Wasn't my story when I had any of mine. Just like you can start off as a C cup, you know, you can start off as like a 32C, and then by the time you have this baby, end up at a 36F. Like that's the thing. And do they go back? Again, it's unique like fingerprints. It might not. We would love to tell you you're gonna get all of that back, but I'm not gonna call no names, but somebody was trying to get ready for homecoming right after they had their baby. And that was the only question I was getting was like, is this gonna be back by the time it's time to go to homecoming? I wish I could tell you.
All I wanted was the waist trainer, that's all. And you know, the breastfeeding had me lose the weight. And then when I stopped breastfeeding, boom.
Yeah.
You know,
Also,
Yeah.
that wasn't my story. Breastfeeding, losing weight, I gained weight.
breastfeeding.
Me too.
Yeah,
We just talked
breastfeeding
about that.
didn't. Yeah, breastfeeding didn't do that for me. But I tell you what, having a baby did for me. I got a little shape now. I got a butt. I didn't have no butt before pregnancy. I went out and I have a nice little butt now.
My body
Everybody's
changed.
noticing my butt too.
My body changed so much from when before I had a baby. I don't look like I actually got weight recently, and I'm somewhere between 5 and 7 pounds more than what I weighed before I got pregnant. But Melissa mentioned. So here's my thing that didn't work that I wasn't expecting. I was expecting that I was expecting that if I was going to, after I had the baby and everything, I knew I wasn't going to snap back, but I thought that I was going to have the energy to be able to try to work out and take care of myself the way I did before I got pregnant. And what I have found is that all the things that I used to do before I got pregnant, before I had this child, I do not have the energy nor the motivation, thank you, Nikki, that I used to have in order to do the things I used to do. And so that was my thing that I wasn't expecting. So, and that ties into what I look like now. So Melissa actually asked us about pictures. So this is basically what I look like about maybe 2 months or so before I got pregnant. And then that's me pregnant.
But you're not that bad.
And that's me that's a year after. And see what I tell people all the time. I'm trying to tell you that
to look like that.
But wait, wouldn't we just say everybody has their own journey?
That's what I said. That's good for you.
Right. But see, the thing is though, is that my body shape has changed so much. I get up, and even though it's only been 5 to 7 pounds, that lack of energy, I don't do the things I used to do. And my body has changed so much that I have a closet full of clothes that I can't even think about wearing. What are you talking about? Okay. I can't think about wearing none of that stuff because of the way they cut women's clothing. And like, I don't feel like I don't have any shame about what I look like, but it's still like, I wasn't expecting this. I was unprepared. I knew I was going to change, but I didn't realize I was going to change like that. I didn't realize I was going to have this lack of energy. I didn't realize, you know what I'm saying? I didn't realize he's going to be sick every day and how that being sick was going to affect me.
That's why I'm glad I was plus size. I mean, not glad, but it is a benefit to being plus size overweight before you get pregnant. Because I already know where to shop. I already know where to go for clothes. It's sort of like, okay, just run up the tally on my pounds, and I go up to the next size. So that's the good thing about being, if there was a good thing.
But I always have had a problem finding clothes because my height. Right?
Yeah.
So I mean, like, for example, I'm actually wearing a full sweatsuit right now. If I could show y'all how these are some high waters, y'all be like, Lord Jesus, have mercy. And these are just, and they fit. It fits. It just is my life.
I was telling some of the girls offline that I went to Vegas, and like in my mind, when I look in the mirror, I do still think I'm a super sexy bitch when I put on my drawers, and my bra, my underwear, my panties, and my and my bra. But when I would put on clothes, it's technical difficulties. It is complete, like the body is not the same.
No.
And going back to what you were saying, Missy, about like even like after that 6 to 8 week checkup, and they're like, okay, you're clear to have sex. And I had set up, a hot date night with my mate, and I had a C-section. My stuff was supposed to be where it was supposed to be. It was not for a long time. So that was like something that I was scared that my organs were never going to be the same. Like,
that was the weirdest experience I ever had, even though I had a C-section. I was like, what the fuck is this? And I didn't even give birth. I was like, oh no, this ain't it.
And I'm just telling you, it's okay. No, it's not okay.
No,
it feels a little different.
So now let me, but y'all that have C-sections or have to have C-sections, it's not as bad as most people make it seem. In the middle of it, not the procedure itself, but after you kind of get through and start to heal, I'm going to say give yourself at least to your little person's like first birthday. But that incision, when you first see that incision without the bandage on it, and you're going, I got to go see a plastic surgeon. Like, I'm not, like, I can't walk around looking like, it's not going to look like that a year from now. It's absolutely not. Unless there are complications. Now, your skin keloids and all that other kind of stuff, that's the margin of error. But if you have a good doctor, a skilled doctor, it literally will look like somebody took a pen and drew a line at the bottom of your stomach if you had a good surgeon. So hopefully, and don't wear that as a scar. Wear it as a badge of honor. Like, somebody, and especially what Cat Williams say, a real man is not going to say, oh, your bra and panties don't match. We're not doing this. They don't care. Like, if you got stretch marks, it's either because you were little and you got fat, or you fat and you got little, whatever it is. He does that whole routine. And that is the truth. So if your person has a problem with that scar, you might have bigger issues than that scar, because that little thing, it is really, it's
My
really
scar is
small.
small. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, Melissa. My scar, I thought I was gonna be cut from side to side, and it was gonna be this big old. I mean, I just did, and my scar is like really, really small. My stretch marks look worse than my scar, to be honest.
I'm with you,
and I've been had those.
Like, true. I'm about to say I had stretch marks before I got pregnant.
Right.
Same here.
I'm so it just, and I picked on you, Tamila, because you for us, the gifted in the areas, some people call it challenge, I'm gonna call them gifts. The ones that have the second and third stomach or roll, that every time you put a shirt on, you can see where your bra stop and your second and third roll start. For those of us that have that, your body looks amazing. But to somebody else that was super skinny, and then they're like, oh, wait a minute, I got weight, I got hips, and then it goes back to being tiny. It depends on where you want to be. It's perspective. So
there's that, and then it's what I tell people all the time: clothes hide a multitude of sins. I got some things going on in here that maybe I never would have had before, but my husband and I both have talked about this, because I went through my moments. We all have our own body image moments, and he was like, we had a baby, we have a child, and he was like, you're just as beautiful to me. And I think those, hearing those words so much have definitely, so I definitely don't have any shame or anything, and I don't feel stressed out about it, but I do feel frustrated that I wasn't coordinated at that point. I wasn't ready. Okay. I mean, like, I was really like frustrated. Like, why am I not able to just get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and go do my workout routine while he's sleeping? What?
Right
you
now,
tired? So tired.
You tired? tired right now.
I'm tired
Like,
right
I'm
now.
You know what it
How did he
is?
come home from daycare
Got
with
it
a
on.
Like I'm
fever
listening to you, TJ, and I'm
again?
like, I wish with all that, because it's like even before I got pregnant, I always had body issues because growing up, Cherie, you were like when you had your daughter, you now have a butt. I always had a butt. And it was always back in the day when it's like you don't want to have a butt because people were harassing you. That's what I had before everyone stopped paying for the butt now. So it's like it made me not appreciate my body. And I was like, I had a lot of body issues, and then getting pregnant and now having the weight, and I'm struggling to like bring it back to somewhat of what it was before. It compounds in my head of like, yeah, I have a son, he's great, but nah, I'm not great. I don't have time. Like I'm trying to find the time. I'm like, I don't have the time. Just take care of myself. To then be like, okay, let me go work out or whatever. And it adds to the psychological stuff of like, okay, yeah, your body's not right and all this stuff or whatever. But it's like, I
Yeah.
just pushed out a whole damn human. My
Yeah,
brain
but
don't
you-
even
On
don't even
ourselves,
capture that.
though. When I look at like a lot of my girlfriends that even had the different surgeries or just whatever, even just me, I had this ridiculous bustier this week. Oh God, my body was like bada bing, bada boom. But I was dying inside. As soon as I walked in the house, that thing was coming off, right? But it's like, why? He looked at me like, why are you doing all of this? Like, you're good. But I feel like we put this pressure because I still see Lindsay before the baby. Like, I don't have this realistic image of my breast should still be boom, and this should still be a little like, so
But
it's trying to have a realistic expectation, and it's hard to have that.
But I think also too, some of that comes from us looking at other females and sizing them up, and it makes us think, okay, I need to get mine like that, instead of just taking you for who you are. And that it's kind of like with anything. I find that I have some friends that are very judgmental, and those are the same friends that are always worrying about if somebody is looking at them sideways.
Yes.
Like, sometimes it's all internal. You got to be happy with what you got and not size up that next chick. Maybe give her props, but not really size her up and compare it to yourself.
You know what I had to do?
Can I share something that one of my best friends recently told me like this week? Because I've dealt with struggle with weight issues my whole life. I mean, I was a chubby kid. I will go through periods where I'll lose 80 pounds and think I'm like that, then I gain it all back. And now I'm on the upswing in my life. And my friend, she told me, she said, aside from having a whole baby, she said, girl, there's no reason for you to walk out the house looking crazy. You can be plus size and still look cute. You have the means, the resources to go buy some cute clothes and fit your body the way you look today. She said, now if you don't have no resources, that's a different story. But if you got some resources to go look cute, get your hair done, get that outfit together, go get you some threads to make your butt look even better, because my butt doesn't
Don't
look
be
good,
in
y'all.
denial when you got to go up one size.
That's true.
Right?
I'm gonna check
You know
you out
what?
next time I see you now.
Body
Angie,
image
and I'ma
though is
flaunt it for you, girl.
regional.
It look good too. And I'm gonna show
Body
you a
image
before
is
look of my
very
butt.
regional.
Go ahead.
Body image is very regional, because I'm from
It
like
is.
further south, and where I'm from, the thinner you were, the less attractive you were.
Yes.
And when I was going to college, let me tell you, the girl who got us in the club and got us in the VIP, she not looking like this, okay? She had like Angie boobs and everything, and then she would just put her little top on. She had her little strapless thing on. She would do the club check, and then we would put her in the front. And those girls got us into the club and into VIP. And I'm trying to tell you, she was beautiful and voluptuous, and she was at least a size 18, 22, somewhere in there. But let me tell you, this girl looked like a queen every time she came around the corner, except of course, finals week.
She probably was also confident.
Yes.
That's what does it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what
she was.
But when
confident
I lived
and
in
beautiful
North
and
Carolina,
smart.
that was the thing. I was tiny in North Carolina, and if I'd heard one more person tell me I needed to eat, Like you, what? Why you so like?
I'm
And
gonna throw a
then,
steak at you one day.
yes, and then when he wasn't my husband at the time, but then when Andre used to come down to see me and he would hear stuff, he was like, what is happening? He was like, why I was trying to feed you? I said, because if you below a 10,
It's the
12,
culture.
they want to puff you. But I'm gonna tell you something that my daughter-in-law said to me, culturally, and her culture, and they're Latino. She said that it's expected that once you get married and have a baby, they expect you to get larger and all of this stuff. Yeah, like they want you to change the whole bang 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 that caught them. They want you to gain all of this weight once you get married, because then you're supposedly only attractive to the person you're with. I guess, I'm sorry, there's guys out here that won't look at you if you below a size 18, 20. So I don't know what that's supposed to do, but you're right. It's a cultural thing. It's a place thing where you are, versus somebody else. So for some people, a 4'6" is good, but some people, a 14, 16 is better. So you
When I
can't
moved
really.
up here, they told me I had to get to my city weight, and my nickname became Biscuit.
They want you to have
because I was one biscuit away from being a fat ass. Is what they told me.
It's all relative. Like you the thin girl in North Carolina, but a biggins in this area, or in California somewhere. It's all
It's
relative.
regional. But
Everybody got the
but that being said, that means that means that we're all still beautiful. And I think that all of us have to be able to, to recognize that. Because I know I had like somebody might say, oh, well, you're thinner, so you don't have your struggles. Don't get it twisted. Please don't. Yes. I have my struggles. I look in the mirror and I'm like, why?
Everybody need to go to Spa World and it'll just erase everything you thinking. Everything you thinking.
All up in this.
And can I just say one negative that I realized fourth trimester that I didn't think about? Lifted my kid over and over and over after a while. My bloody ass hands.
Nobody told me about them.
I still have the wrist brace where I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why?
Yeah, tendonitis.
I was just talking about that on Tuesday. Remember?
Tendonitis and your bladder. Your bladder, like you sneeze and you like, really? Like you gotta wear a panty liner all the time because
my younger sister was like, you better do the Kegel exercises.
Yes.
She's like, you gotta do that like crazy. I was like, but
and if you have a baby
birth.
later in pregnancy, that's an even bigger thing. And Lynn, you were saying that, going and wearing the bustier and all this other kind of stuff. Listen, the things that we do when we're younger, I'm gonna tell you this, at the age that I am, and I'm older than all of y'all in here. When you gotta go to a club with a girdle on that has a slit in the vaginal area so you can pee without having to take that thing off, because the truth is you're not gonna be able to get it back on in the confines of that little teeny stall that you're gonna stand in when you go to the club. If you got to walk around now with a little bit of piss in your underwear because you couldn't take that girdle off, or the ones that snap at the bottom and you got to try to unsnap it.
You got to try to find the hole in it.
I had open crotch. I had open crotch.
You had drawers on?
No, I'm just saying,
but grown folks' business now.
No,
how you wear no drawers after you done had a baby? I'm confused. Wait a minute now. Well, how much time
if you got to do that, you shouldn't have to do that to yourself, because I'm at the age now. If I can't fit it after I eat, I'm not gonna wear it before I eat. And I'm not gonna starve myself trying to eat a salad when somebody taking me out to eat or whatever. No, I'm getting the whole steak with the baked potato and the broccoli on the side. And when I go pee, I'm not in there with one foot propped up on the toilet because I'm trying to get that thing unsnapped and then trying to get it snapped back or trying to pee through it.
And make sure the pee don't get on your outfit.
And walk around.
I got two of those.
Melissa trying to shimmy and you've been dancing a little bit, so you sweating, your back rolls a little sweaty.
Oh my God, Jackie, you done took your jacket off and threw it over the stall because you're hot, and now you standing there doing like this. I ain't got time. I don't have time. And anybody that you feel like that you got to do that for,
Yeah, because I'm trying to go back to the no draws after you
For
done had a
me,
baby.
I'm not
because
doing
you
it
got,
for nobody else.
Who
But
had the drawers on? I missed that.
I said no draws after you done had the baby because for the most part, you gotta wear a panty liner after you done had the baby because things they just flow.
Yes.
I'm trying to figure out what the magic thing is here, Lindsay.
I don't be pissing on myself. I don't have that
I'm
problem.
not saying pee. I ain't saying it don't have to be pee.
She's just saying you're a little bit more of a slip and slide than previously.
Yes.
Foreplay?
No.
We done jumped in the circus.
Right.
Hey, so since
That's
we were talking
another thing
about
too. And I don't know who told the lie that at 6 weeks you was gonna be ready for circus tricks. That is the devil, and especially if you that's just like vaginal. That's the devil. So a C-section.
Some were.
No, God was too traumatized.
No, but the expectation that is normal.
Me.
Well, no, that's how people end up with. That's how people end up with stair steps because they went to 6 weeks. I'm talking about the other folks. It shouldn't be a normal expectation.
Or they just go with
I
the
was
road.
barely finished bleeding by 6 weeks.
Yes.
I just think
when
you give a warning.
Sometimes somebody want a little ketchup on their hot dog, and so things just happen. I'm sorry, Angie.
If you know going in,
let me mute myself.
I didn't know.
Tried to warn Taylor. I
did.
I tried to
Unexpected.
Okay, that's
okay. Look, I want to give you a quick tip, right? Since we're talking about peeing. Since we're talking about peeing, so right down the center of your stomach, right? It's something's called the I'm going to kill this word, the Linus alba, right? It's a little line that basically, so your muscles of your abdomen kind of fit together like this, and as you get pregnant, more and more pregnant, they start to slowly kind of pull apart. This is going to happen naturally. That's where the kind of the incontinence comes from, because all the time after you've had the baby, it slowly shuts back down again. It doesn't always connect back, right? So what you want to do as you start to exercise is try to avoid putting space on that center line of your abdomen. So one really good thing you can do, since we were talking about this previously, Cherie, is if you get yourself just a simple band, you can put it on to a side and then just walk into it's tight, and then just go push it out and pull it in. Just that. And what you're going to do is make sure the band is tight enough if you feel a little bit of rotation wanting to pull you, but don't do anything else. Don't do any push-ups, don't do any sit-ups, don't
Where's
do any
the band? Wait a minute, I missed something. Are you putting the band around your waist?
Straight wet.
Where is it connected to you? Like, how is it connected to you?
In your hands, you're holding it in your hands.
just pulling to like the therapy bands that you go like this with?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
But don't do that. Just go straight. Just do this. That's it.
Hold up now, Tamila. We just talked about weight. Them fat cells not gonna get rid of them cells.
That's
now,
for.
I thought you was gonna give me something more intense.
Have you tried it yet?
No, but that don't sound
how do you
like
know how intense it is?
Oh, okay, I'm gonna try because I got some therapy bands too.
All right, so go ahead and try it. But when you call me and your fingers a little sweaty, don't be mad.
It ain't my fingers. I need to sweat. It's this third stomach.
But we're trying to be gentle to our body. Remember, we're trying to keep away from incontinence. So you're trying to be gentle to the center of your stomach. It will give you something, but you're going to be gentle. And if you see anything that makes that stomach kind of cone out like that, if you see something poke, whatever it is, stop. Whatever it is you're doing.
That's for postpartum. That's for postpartum, right?
For postpartum. And also, the one thing that Melissa used to yell at me all the time about that I was terrible about doing, but we all should do anyway, when you're getting up in the bed, don't sit up, roll up, roll over,
and get up.
The C-section people, we had to do that.
Oh yeah,
anyway.
we got that on lock.
You was going to be in excruciating pain.
Even if you try, your body gonna tell you, "Oh, you really want to do this? All right, I'm gonna show you. You gonna roll."
I'm gonna say this real quick. It is 10 o'clock. Y'all know we don't ever like. We're gonna work on it, but it's 10 o'clock. So if anybody has to jump off, we appreciate it. We'll still show all of the stuff at the end. Taylor, thank you. I think Charlie had to dip out, or she might be off camera. We appreciate it. Again, I don't know how many times you've done it, Taylor, but I want you to put your information in there. again, to make sure that people have it. So if you have to jump out, you can. Charlie, drop your stuff in there if you have to. Hey, love, jump out, that's fine. But it seems like right at that 9:58 hour, somebody say something that the conversation turns interesting. I wish y'all would say it at like 9:01 and at 9:58. I'm just saying, but thank y'all. I know, yeah, we do get to about the third last about this time, and some things had gotten live. So, but if you have to go, you have to jump off, that's fine. If you have to go and you are watching us, this will re-air, so you can pick up where you left off. But we appreciate you being here with us. So I wanted to throw that out there before. Like and share, Hands of Melody. Website is www.handsofmelody.com, and you can go back and watch these episodes on there as well. Like and share our Facebook page, and we have a YouTube channel, Hands of Melody YouTube channel. So thank you, we appreciate you. Amazing. But I wanted to wait, somebody said something, and I was just trying to get, who is at 2 and 3 weeks doing circus tricks after having a baby? Sit yourself, your hot, as my grandmother used to say, your hot in the tail.
It's your partner.
Your doula sister.
Mhm.
Your doula sister.
That sounds about right.
That's why she's trying to teach
I
all
was
of us
young.
circus
I
tricks.
was young and dumb. Yeah, we had to get it in right quick. But yeah, it was about 2-3 weeks time frame.
But that's how you end up with stair steps. That's how you end up with kids.
I was
4,
lucky.
5, 6, and 7.
I know God was looking out for the dumb, because I was lucky. I ain't having nothing till 10 years later.
Do not, and I know her caption says doula. Do not, if you don't want stair steps, do not engage in, not to mention all the stuff, that medical stuff that you can like mess up and bust stitches and all of this stuff. If you want stair steps, Hands of Melody will take you. We will be birth side for everybody that wants to be there. But if you
I ain't had no stitches.
That's why, yeah. So again, you gotta know the whole story, because the person putting on Facebook 8 ounces of milk, not showing you it took them 6-7 weeks to get to 8 ounces. You just thinking she out here doing circus tricks, but she ain't had no stitches. Don't bust your stitches. You know, he gonna be all right. She gonna be all right till you get through this 6 to 8 weeks. But unless you want stair steps, breastfeeding does not stop you from getting pregnant. Do we need to say that again? We got a couple mommies in our group that's still breastfeeding and they pregnant again. Breastfeeding does not stop you from getting pregnant. That's a myth. It's a lie. It's an old wives' tale. It's not the truth.
No matter what your doctor tells you.
No matter what they say. And after you get everything fixed up, go get checked. I'm gonna throw that shade out there, and I'm not gonna mention no names. But after he gets stuff done, go get checked. Or we still looking for babies. I'm just saying, she know who we talking to. We're gonna keep this on a Wednesday, a Thursday chat. We'll talk about it tomorrow. But I'm saying, get checked. There are 2 top babies out here. The only thing that we ain't seen yet is somebody had a hysterectomy coming back and saying they're pregnant. That's the only one that we ain't seen yet. But if it's in there and it can be fertilized, there's a lot of tube-tied babies out here. There's a lot of vasectomy babies out here. I'm just...
Hold up now, Melissa. Now you're talking crazy.
Cherie, it's the truth. There are a lot of people. If we polled Facebook right now, there are so many people that the parent
Nick just said it. She said her mom was tied.
Nikki, how's this the first time we're hearing about this?
It's the truth. It's the truth. You can have a vasectomy or have
I'm going back on mute.
still
I'm
get
going back on mute.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Taylor. Taylor lives in a whole different time zone, y'all. So we appreciate Taylor being here. So much love. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, so no matter what your doctor tells you, you can still get pregnant. But thank you all. I think we asked, did we? Oh, so
gotta do the outro.
Wait a minute, before we go, Taylor, do you know if the products that you have are okay and safe for while you're pregnant and breastfeeding? Do you know they are? Okay.
Yeah. So back in 2018, Mary Kay completely rebranded their Timeless collection, which is the basic skincare. They were seeing a lot of people having issues with allergies and sensitivities. So they completely switched it around. They have a team of over 17 dermatologists, ophthalmologists working with them, and they completely switched it. Now it's hypoallergenic, fragrance-free, sensitive skin tolerated completely, non-comedogenic.
Listen,
There's a whole bunch. It's the basic skincare line. The only thing that they ask people who are pregnant, planning to become pregnant, breastfeeding, not use is the acne line, the retinol line, obvious reasons. Those are very concentrated, that they don't know, so they say don't use it.
Okay.
But other than that, our basic skincare line is completely safe and highly recommended for people who are pregnant or planning on becoming pregnant, because you can stop the dry skin or stop the breakouts, especially with those hormone acnes where you get along your chin or in your T-zone, just so you can keep that down to a minimum.
Yeah, we appreciate Mary Kay. Thank you so much, because
absolutely
so much stuff you can't use. I'm glad that there's actually out here some stuff that you can use. So for all of those that know the drill, we're going to do the outro and then we will say our goodbyes. For those that don't have to jump off now, we'll say our goodbyes in just a few minutes. Nick, if you are ready to take us out, we appreciate you, Mama. Everybody else can go on mute for a minute. All right, Nick. Uh-oh. What are we doing? She just said, OMG. Is it not working? Oh, there we go. Can't hurt. Is your sound on, Nick? Nick. Yeah, share sound. Uh-oh. Y'all know we old over here. We sorry, and we're gonna get it together in the next situation.